All right, good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of your forecast. It is June 17th, year of our Lord 2025. We are tracking our temperatures, seeing if we can get to the century mark today here across portions of the Panhandle. Amarillo is already behind the cold front, and we have not hit 100 yet today, so we'll see if we can get there. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be possible anymore with where the front is located. And then our next thing to focus on will actually be the chance for some isolated severe storms this evening, mostly over in the east-southeast panhandle. So you can see we've got two clusters of storms, one there on the eastern panhandle, rather in eastern Kansas, and then we've got some additional storms over in eastern Colorado. Things are quiet here, and you can see those temperatures, kind of a wide array of them just with that front pushing through. It's 75 degrees in Boise City, feeling nice and spring-like there. 88 in Dumas, 94 here in Amarillo. You don't have to go far south to find those triple digits, but that cold front currently has not made it through Hereford yet. It did just push through Canyon. Canyon proper is 96 right now. It's 103 down on the floor of Paladuro Canyon. Happy, Texas is 101 there just to the north of Tulia. So that front somewhere in here, you can see it a little bit better on dew points. You can see the dews climbing into the 50s and 60s there behind the front. So a lot of surface moisture. The question is, can we get any storms maintained even though we do have the moisture at the surface? We are very dry way up above it, that 700 millibar layer, and that usually impedes a lot of widespread thunderstorm development here in the high plains, especially on the caprock, which is where most of us reside. And so our concern is we may not get much storm activity here in the panhandles today unless you're off the caprock down there in the east northeast panhandle. So we'll see. But you can see again, got a little triple point action, dew point dry line setting up there near the caprock edge from Clarendon to Silverton, and then we've got that cold front crashing south, and so you just got some localized convergence down in here. Might be an area to watch for maybe a thunderstorm or two to try and develop later this afternoon and evening. But this is the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. They've got a slight risk all the way up into eastern Colorado. That covers a portion of the northern panhandles. Really, the bulk of severe weather expected in South Kansas and North Oklahoma. There is a high likelihood that we get a tornado watch issued at some point later this afternoon up in that general area. We might see a few of our counties embedded in that tornado watch too. It's going to mostly be up there in the northeast panhandle if it were to happen. And we may have to watch kind of the boundary where the cold front's currently located. We could get a few storms to fire along the boundary and then just kind of track down that front as it slowly drifts off to the south. But these are your hazards for today. In theory, everything's possible. The tornado threat's there. It's just kind of a lower concern for today. The giant hail is going to be our primary concern, up to lime size, going to be possible with any discrete supercell that can maintain a rotating updraft. So here's your lows for tonight. We're going to tumble to about 60 degrees here in Amarillo, 59 in Dumas. Highs tomorrow are going to be much cooler. We'll actually only climb into the 80s, so we think in the afternoon behind that front with that north breeze still stuck in place. And so it should be a much more pleasurable afternoon. Again, those highs only going to be in the 80s and the 90s. So here's the outlook for Wednesday. Marginal risk down in the southeast panhandle. Thinking we'll probably stay dry given where the front's at. May end up further south than most models anticipate or at least indicate. You can see a couple of isolated cells there in the eastern panhandle. Those are the ones that we think will have the best chance to be severe. And then we've got a big cluster up there in Kansas, which should provide a lot of widespread severe storm activity up there also. A lot of that stuff should miss us to the north. It's just too dry, we think, here in the middle layers of the atmosphere to sustain severe storms over the course of this evening. But we might get one or two storms to try and pop off this evening, but most will stay dry. You can see that front again hanging just to our south through most of the day tomorrow. So any storms that do get going, we think are going to be back in the big country, portions of the hill country as well. We should be in the 80s with that east and northeast breeze. And then moving into Thursday, we'll start off in the 70s. We have that south wind back in place. A ridge will start to build back in over the panhandles. And so those highs are going to start to return back into the 90s for our daytime afternoon temperatures. So, and that's just due to this ridge out here that's going to drift across the area Thursday and Friday. Now, moving into the weekend, the pattern is probably going to start to change. You can see that we've got this trough that's going to try and dig into the northwest portion of the continental U.S. We've got a big ridge building over the Midwest, so probably some severe weather up there in the central and northern plains Whether or not we have that here in the South Plains too still is a bit of an uncertainty, but something to keep an eye on. We are at least going to get some of that Pacific plume of moisture pulled in over New Mexico and portions of the Texas Panhandle. So we think that that chance for rain may start to climb again as we get towards the final week or so of June. It's going to be dry for the most part through the next 5 to 7 days, but moving into next week, particularly into Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday on, if we got this trough out here that is persistent and hangs around for a few days, we may have a stretch of weather where we could see at least a wetter than normal pattern. You can see again that monsoon moisture probably going to likely impact portions of New Mexico. We could certainly see maybe a portion of that here in the panhandles too, given the overall synoptic scale look to the pattern and that subtropical jet stream. And you can see again that just kind of gets pushed up around that ridge of high pressure, which is expected to be centered mostly over the Midwest. So you've got moisture coming in from the Gulf, moisture coming in from that subtropical jet stream, just kind of parking itself over our heads. So we think it will eventually get wet again here by the end of June, but we do have to get through that next few days of dry weather. Again, here's your 7-day forecast. Juneteenth on Thursday should be a warmer afternoon in the mid 90s, getting hot again Friday, but we do have you below 100. We've got you at 98 right now, and we have not hit the triple digits yet in Amarillo this year. This time last year, we'd only had 2 days of triple-digit heat, but we got really hot in the second half of the summer. So we're not necessarily out of the woods yet. We've still got a long way to go to get through these hot months. Usually July and August are our two hottest months here on average in the Amarillo area in the Texas Panhandle. So we still have most of summer to get through. So don't let this this mislead you that we won't get to the triple digits. We just haven't yet this year. We may not the rest of this week, depending on where we stand on Friday. But that is all we've got for you. We're just kind of waiting to see any kind of storm initiation along the frontal boundary or here in the panhandles. That should happen here within the next couple hours. And so when we do start seeing some storms pop off, we'll jump back on and let you guys